What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Salud Cabrones podcast. I am Danny Villegas.
And I am still Javier Ledesma.
And before we get started, we want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, the Law Office of Christopher Hoff and the Taco Villa in Villa Park. Shout out to Chris and Bear Mysterio.
It's bear season. What do you think Bear's doing today?
Oh, he's tailgating, getting fucked up right now.
Messed up.
Yeah, he is. And we ask you to like, comment, subscribe, and share the Salud Cabrones podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. And follow us on all social media platforms at Salud Cabrones podcast. Javier, we have a special one today, bro. I know we always do.
Woo! This one is special. We've been looking for this one for a while.
Yeah, we have, man. But I'm glad that she got to fit us in her busy schedule, man. She got to fit
Superstar schedule.
Superstar schedule.
Right.
She got to fit our shitty podcast in her schedule. Thank you for that. She's too busy whooping ass and all over the Chicagoland AEW, winning titles in every fucking promotion that she's at. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Chicago's sweetheart, Miss Missa Kate.
That's me. Crowd goes crazy. I need you guys to follow me around for that intro, by the way. That's amazing.
I
That's
got
Danny.
you.
That's
Yeah,
my
I love it.
Danny all the time.
I love it.
He
got
any
you.
guest that comes out, Danny always has like this crazy intro, and then they always go, "Dude, we need to hire you. You're just gonna be our hype man everywhere we go."
Right? I'm getting hyped up about myself right now.
See?
I'm just like, yeah, that's right. That's me. You know?
I forgot who was it. I can't. It was some actor that we had on the show. I can't remember who it was. As you started listing everything they've done, dude's like, dude, I forgot that I
forgot
even
to handle
did
that shit. That was
Yeah.
Brian Keys.
Yeah, it was Brian Keys.
Yeah,
That's
he's
right.
like, fuck, I forgot I even was on that show. Fuck.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's like, now that's an intro. That
No,
is an
thank you for joining us today, Missa. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for
Yes,
having me.
yes. Did you wrestle last night?
No, but I did get to enjoy the wonderful AEW All Out pay-per-view.
Nice.
You were there, right?
I was.
Were
I
you
was
on? You were on the
there.
show?
I was on. They used me on Rampage Friday night against Queen Amanada, and then last night I got to actually just enjoy the pay-per-view, which I was talking to a couple people there. I'm like, it's very just like how we spoke at Hog. I like saying Hog.
Hog, yeah.
Hog at Hog Wrestling, House of Glory. This past Thursday, like, you don't really, as a wrestler, you're very much on the go. So when you get to actually step back and just watch a show, it ignites a little bit like that. I don't want to say your flame ever dies, but it kind of, it turns the gas up a little bit,
Yeah.
you know? So it's cool to just sit back and watch and be like, okay, I don't really have anything to do, which, I mean, it's bittersweet, of course, because you're like, I want to be in the ring.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, okay, I get to sit back, watch how everything operates, and just be like, okay, and just learn, be a fly in the wall.
Yeah, be a
So,
sponge.
Yeah, exactly. SpongeBob. Call me SpongeBob, you boy.
No, that's true. You know, we're backstage all the time at shows, whether we're working on the show or not. And a lot of times you kind of get lost in the moment of being backstage. You're kind of mingling with the friends. You're kind of hanging out, talking. There's matches going on and you're not paying attention.
Yep.
You know, you're just kind of there. And like there's locker rooms that have TVs and you can watch the matches. But it's so different to just sit in the crowd and do it. I remember telling him once years ago, we were doing a spot where I was kind of hanging out in the crowd and then had to go into the ring from the crowd, you know?
Oh.
And I almost lost my moment. I almost like missed it because I was just kind of chilling, enjoying the show.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, I'm part of it. I gotta go in there real quick.
This is your spot, asshole.
Running,
Fuck.
You got one job. You got one job.
Oh shit, I gotta be in there. I was enjoying the show, guys. No,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. It's just, it brings you back to like just being a child and loving the sport for what it is.
Exactly.
So you grew up watching wrestling, loving wrestling, or was it something that just happened as you caught on the TV one day as you got older?
I always say I have two first matches that I've seen. The first, I think I was like, well, I was born in 95, so I think I was like 7. Whenever John Cena debuted against Kurt Angle, which was in Chicago.
Yep, I was here.
Poetry. Yeah,
Yep,
right?
I was there for that.
Were you really?
Yep, I was there for that.
How was it being there? I want to hear your experience.
It was I
before.
actually, and because that was in for John Cena's debut.
Yeah.
Yep, and I actually met Cena that day in his debut. It was
Oh,
really cool.
shit.
Yeah, it was really cool because you see him come out and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Because everyone knows Kurt
Generic
Angle.
101.
Yeah. Obviously, we all know Kurt Angle, you know, and like, who's this guy, you know? And then seeing the match, and you know, then after the show, and then afterwards, you see on the Titantron when everyone's giving him the respects, and then Taker comes up and gives him the respect, you know, and they're thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like the new guy or something, you know, where they trying to push this guy. Then lo and behold, it ends up being fucking John Cena.
Yeah.
John Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, because even like the crowd reaction that I remember, like everyone was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Like You know,
It
like
was weird, yeah.
yeah, this guy
But
really
was
gonna beat
it-
Kurt Angle.
Was it a thing? Because again, I mean, I was a child, so but I was like, there's something about this guy. Like, there's something that just like attracted you to him. Besides the fact that he's gorgeous, but like but was that
It
kind
was
of
his
like
body, wasn't it?
it was everything. It was all of it. I'll take all of it. Even now with that bald spot, it's okay.
I think the ball spot has like little abs on it.
I know it has biceps. It has its own life of its own. But no, was that how it was like being in the crowd? Could you tell like as a fan watching, you're like, I don't know who this dude is, but there's something.
At first, I mean, I guess maybe it's because the way he was built.
Okay.
You know, like, oh man, this guy's fucking huge, you know? And so maybe, you're like, yeah, well, maybe he's going to be something by his size, but then you see him come out, like you said, the little generic 101,
Yeah,
the little
yeah.
shorts he wore. And
Little booty shorts.
Yeah. And then, like, he had like a generic 101 song. I didn't think it was like, a little.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
The
hard
little
to like.
frosted
Yeah.
tips.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to see that like when you're witnessing in person, because I've been to so many WWE shows where whether it's dark matches or maybe like a main guy on the circuit is doing like a their appearance or whatnot. I remember there was a time when Ring of Honor was still really, really huge, and there was this Japanese wrestler Morishima, I think it was Morishima or something like that, Morishima, and dude was like a monster in the indies. And I remember being the day there that he showed up on, I think it was SmackDown, and it was like dark match and whatnot. And he was wrestling Charlie Haas. And then I remember thinking, damn, dude just made it here. He's going to just demolish everyone, right? And then that's literally the only time I ever saw him on WWE. He never made it. He didn't get signed.
Yeah.
So I remember watching, I don't know if I was there for the Cena one. I probably was. I've seen so many of the shows there, But I remember seeing Cena come out and going like, he's just another guy that's not going to be here in a couple weeks. That's literally what I thought at that moment. Yeah, he looked like $1 million, but he also got punked by Angle at that moment, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't think much of him. And then after the whole Taker thing, like him giving him the his props or whatnot, I remember thinking like, he's not just gonna be some guy. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
You're like maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you always hope the best for all these guys, because in the beginning, nobody ever gets like brought in like a main superstar. Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Right. Exactly.
Not everyone's Carlito winning their championship in the first match,
Or fucking Santino.
Santino.
So what's your first memories of wrestling?
So it would be that, and then the first match I ever saw was Edge versus Matt Hardy in a ladder match, and Lita was with Edge, and at the time,
Oh, was that after the whole fucking scandal and shit? Okay.
yeah, but
okay.
again, I had no idea of any of this. This was years after. I have not watched wrestling in between this period, and I just remember seeing Lita, and the ladder match was for the contract stays on Raw, and then it was supposed to be like loser gets fired or whatever the case was. I just remember seeing Lita, and I was like, the fact that she was getting in there with the guys, and she was, she wasn't scared. She didn't do a whole lot in that match, but just the fact the little that she did do, it was showing like, hey, dude, I'm here too. Like,
Right.
So to me, I was like, growing up, I was always the tomboy. I was always hanging out with the guys. I had 2 older guy cousins, so whatever they were doing, whether it's baseball, skateboarding, basketball, like whatever it was, like I'd hang out with them and their friends. I was the annoying little female cousin. Like, oh, we gotta take her. Yeah, that's right. You gotta take me. And
Now,
then,
as a kid, did you play sports as a kid?
oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay.
I soccer for 20 years. That's how I thought I was gonna make it to wrestling, because I didn't know anything of the indies.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna go to the Olympics for soccer. We're gonna start small, and small. But yeah, so like that, basketball, figure skating, dance, softball.
So you've always been a natural athlete at a lot of things. That you
Yeah, and I've always like I always like the physicality of sports, and I'm a busybody. Ever since I was little, my mom was like, the second you started, she's like, you started walking before you were crawling. She's like, once you figured out crawling, you're like, psh, this is boring, and started getting on my feet. She's like, I need to get you in a sport. So I've always been, gymnastics too, like a bunch of stuff. And once I realized like wrestling was a passion of mine, that's when I started doing a lot more, because I'm like, okay, I want to be able to, because again, these guys are athletes, and I was a little bit of a jock growing up, shocker, and I just wanted to be like, okay, I want to be able to do anything and everything. I don't want especially as a female, you're always like, oh, you look like a girl, you wrestle like a girl, you work, which again, yes, I'm a female, so there's certain things that I'm going to do that I'm going to move like a girl, but I still want to move like an athlete. So that's why I did so many different things, because I was like, no, you're not going to hold that against me. So yeah, so I totally went off on a little bit of a rampage, no pun intended. Yeah, so just wrestling overall, it's always been a passion, and just those were the first two that I saw. Yeah, so between John Cena's amazing good looks and Lita's just, being a tomboy badass, I was like, oh, I'm in.
So is it safe to say then Lita was kind of your inspiration into the business?
100%.
Yeah. So when I got into wrestling, I was watching Lucha when I was a little kid before I ever watched WWE. And then I discovered WWE, and it just, my world just kind of blew up. I was the kind of guy that was like, oh man, what else is out there? So I remember watching Japanese wrestling, Puerto Rican wrestling, you name it. As long as it was wrestling, I was watching it.
Yeah.
And so I have favorites from like across the board. Now having discovered Lita, and that was your hook into the business, how did you go back and study, so to speak, being a student of the game? What is it that you discovered after that ended up going like, okay, well, there's Lita, she was the hook,
Yeah.
but now I'm discovering the Randy Savages or the Steamboats of the world. What was it that made you kind of like fall in love and going like, okay, this is something that I want to do?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, just the fact of, again, that how you said that was the hook, where I was like, oh, she could do this, I could do this. I saw similarities and saw myself in her a little bit. So, yeah, once I started getting into, obviously, John Cena, I would try to listen to as many podcasts as I can. I would try to listen to interviews. I tried to research her background, and I did find out how she went to Mexico. Mm-hmm. Didn't know language or nothing, and she's just like, well, this is what I want to do, So, yeah, just stuff like that. And just over time have, learned about Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold and The Rock and, people that everybody loves. So yeah, I don't even know how to answer that, because my brain's just like, once I learned, I was just like, I am all in. So no, I keep saying no pun intended.
I think she's trying to tell us something.
Yeah. I think she is.
I think maybe there was like pen to paper or something.
Maybe.
She's dropping all these weird
So
hints,
the weather
man.
outside's great, guys. The weather outside's amazing.
Is
TK gonna make a major announcement?
What's the real reason I'm here, guys?
Right?
You get the scoop. But yeah, no. So just, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't know how to answer the question, because I'm like, it's such a heavy loaded answer. Because once I was just, I need to know everything about this. Once I have a little bit of an obsession about something, it gets a little bit overboard. So yeah, psychology, I was trying to learn through podcasts. And one thing that I always heard that stuck with me through anybody who's ever, become who they are, was always like, oh, wrestling's only like 10% of it. And I was like, yeah, okay. What do you mean? I see you guys on the ring like all the time. And then once you get involved in it and you step back, you're like, wow, they weren't lying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's what you fight for, is like that 10% that you're in the ring. So when you're there, try to make the most of it. And that's something that I try to do the best that I can with what I'm given.
Sometimes even personality feels like it's a higher percentage than the in-ring stuff,
100%. And that's something. So growing up, I actually had stage fright.
Okay, really? I was going to ask you about that, because you have such a very open, bubbly personality.
Thank you.
And it's a good thing. And coming into wrestling, did you were you always like that? Did you have that fright, like, damn, now I got to talk I got to cut a promo in front of a bunch of people. I got to be charismatic. I got to, give all these expressions. Were you nervous about that, or did it come like second nature to you?
A little bit of both. So when I'm being told, like, obviously more so now, I'm like a little bit more experienced, a little bit more seasoned, as everyone likes to say. At the beginning, when you have stage fright mixed with people telling you do stuff like this, do stuff, and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna listen to the powers that be because they know what they're doing, right? However, they're telling you in the ways that they would go about it. So I was taking it literal, where they're like, no. They're trying to get me to understand, like, hey, you don't got to do it to a T, like what I'm saying, but this is what I would do. So try to make it your own. And once that started clicking in my head, I started to get more comfortable. But yeah, a lot of it was kind of like, I want to make sure I'm doing this right, because I want to make sure like I'm doing my job and I'm like entertaining fans, and like, again, because I love wrestling, that's why I got involved with it. So I was very much like just in that mindset. So it has taken some time, and now again, like through experiences, through talking with different people, through just kind of honestly more than anything just relaxing, because in a lot of this comes from because I have such a passion for this. So I don't want to do it a disservice. And if I feel like I'm doing that, then I get a little bit on myself. So, yeah.
You,
So
you don't want
now-
to feel like you're disrespecting the business.
Exactly. I don't want to, you know, and I, when I was with NWA, there would be people and they would tell me how they would travel from St. Louis, from California to, you know, to come see me. And I'm just like, why? It's creepy. No, I'm just kidding. It's cool. It's cool. A little creepy, but it's cool. But like once I started, and that like kind of added some more pressure. So where I'm like, okay, now I got to really make sure I'm on my A game. So it takes a minute to step back and be like, no, there's a reason why that they're coming to see you. There's a reason why they want, there's something there. And it's just, that's something where I've really had to learn how to relax. So yeah, do I have it sometimes? Of course. But it's something that I battle with and I feel like I've gotten better with. And again, given who I'm in the ring with, what promotion I'm at, who's around, like it's gotten a lot better. So I think, yeah, to answer your question, like, yeah, this is easy because I'm like, we're sitting here, we're talking, because there's no pressure.
Right.
You put me in front of a crowd where it's like, yeah, okay, it's more so when there's not any direction or there's very specific direction. If you give me a little bit of creativity, I got you. Because I'm like, okay, cool, I could play with it. I'm just, give me some PowerPoint, like a little bit of PowerPoint, like, here we go, we're going this direction, cool. But if you're like, hey, I need you to say all these words exactly. Well, now I'm like, okay, this ain't me.
Yeah, you
like,
gotta
this is your
memorize
word.
stuff, yeah.
I'm like, give me some leeway. Or if you're like, hey, we don't know what we're doing. So I'm just kind of like, hey guys, what's going on? Yeah, you know, so yeah, it all depends on the situation. So now, again, that's why I was, how we were talking about earlier, being a fly on the wall helps. Because I'm seeing like some people that don't have direction. And I'm watching their wheels turn like, okay, how can I make the best of this? How can I, you know, go about this, make this something? So yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, no, there you go. No, hey, we learn every day. You know, even the people that have been in the business 20 plus years, they still learn.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a never ending cycle. So then when you start wrestling, what's the first steps you take? Like, what are you looking into schools, or someone tell you, hey, did you ever look into this school? Like, because obviously we're all pro wrestlers, but we get into the business and we're like, how do we go about getting into the ring? How do we go about doing this? You know, like for me, I didn't know there was a such thing as independent wrestling.
Yep.
You know, like I just thought it was WWE, WCW, and that's it. And then I went to go see a indie show, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And then it's independent wrestling. I'm like, I never fucking knew about this.
Yep.
And then I started looking into it, and then I started looking into schools and all that. So, I mean, what's your story when it comes to that?
Very similar. Yeah, like I said, I thought the way to get seen by WWE is to be in the Olympics because I'm like, I have to be on some platform. And I was like, I'm not going to be a model or an actress. I got sports. So that was my mindset. And what happened was one day, actually at my high school, there was a flyer saying pro wrestling. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And it's like exactly like how you were.
Yeah.
And they were having it at my high school. And I was like, oh.
Oh, they had at your high school?
They had it in the gymnasium.
What company was this?
Chicago Style Wrestling.
Okay.
And so I would go and I'd see the shows, and I was in high school, and I was like, all right, this is crazy. This is like, it's right here. It's like, I can touch it, you know? It's weird.
Who was on the card? Do you remember anybody?
No, I just remember the fact that I'm like, oh, I'm close to it. Like,
Yeah.
this is in an arena. Like, I didn't know anything about the independents. The closest thing that I knew outside of WWE was TNA, and that was only because, you know, people that when they
Yeah.
left WWE, that's where they went. So
Right.
I was just like, again, so it's from WWE. But yeah, so it took me a couple years because I went to high school. I got my associates, and then after I got my associates, I was kind of like, you know, you still got the itch. You're like, no, I want to do this, but you're trying to do.
What did you get your degree in?
First, I wanted to go for physical therapy.
Okay.
And so I got in applied health science. And then I took a year off after I got my associates because, you know, life and there's a lot of stuff. And,
Life does what it does.
yeah. But it just made me realize like life's too short. And, you know, if you want to do something, you can't wait. And again, as I'm getting older, I'm learning to relax more, but I was always such a control freak, and a little bit still now. But always such a control freak. Everything needs to be perfectly planned, and so I had a plan. And, certain things kind of blew up, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a year off from school. It's going to, detour, like, I'm going to go on a little bit of a detour, but that's okay. For a full year, I just fully worked. I saved money, and during that year is when I started training with the school, with CSW, which they are offering a school, which I found out. And then I went back to try to get my bachelor's, and then COVID screwed that up. So anyway, so school's not meant for me, pretty much is what we're going down to. I was 2 classes away from getting my bachelor's, damn it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I was going to major in applied health sciences and then minor in disability.
Okay.
Whatever, it's cool. It's cool, guys.
You can still always go back.
Yeah, I know. It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so ever since then, I just kind of, once I learned the indies, again, and I'm still learning. I always make jokes that I'm like, I'm ignorant to it because my mindset was always WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So once I started getting on the indies, then I remember at one point on the DVR, I just looked up pro wrestling and I recorded everything. There was like AWA, a little bit NWA. I think there was like what was it? A little bit of lucha stuff that was just like, how is this even on TV stuff? But like, I would just try to record just to like,
Yeah.
I was trying to learn as much as I can.
You're a student of the game. You're
I'm
just trying to learn.
trying.
Yeah.
Once you discover it's like a drug, man, you just want so much of it. You're like, holy shit.
Just a little. I got a little bit of a problem if you can't tell. I mean, I could be doing actual drugs, so I like to think of it as
There you
better.
go.
Yeah.
Who said it's a problem?
Yeah, I'm cool, guys. I'm cool. It's okay. What do you mean?
Wrestling's a safer drug.
Yeah, I mean, I only throw my head at the ground. It's not
See?
that
That's
bad.
nothing bad. Yeah. I mean, heroin or throw your head in the ground. What do you want?
Easy answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so pretty much that's how I learned about the indies. So yes, even to this day, I'm still trying to learn. And there's different independents all the time, and especially now because pro wrestling is coming back and it's being so hot.
Yeah.
There's more wrestlers showing up, and it's cool in the sense that there's more female talent now.
This is probably the hottest female wrestling has ever been.
Yes.
Like, I don't remember female wrestling being this vibrant
Not at all, bro.
in previous years.
Not at all. Because how hard was it for you when you first started, as far as being a female in the business, as opposed to now?
So when I first started, and a lot of places have this issue, I guess we'll say, is because there wasn't a lot of females. I was the only female at the time. Well, there was another female, but she was inconsistent. I was the only consistent female at the time. And because of that, and because of my sports background, because I'm a fan, I was able to pick stuff up pretty quick. And my trainer at the time was like, "Oh, you're ready," and it was like 4 or 5 minutes, and I was like, I knew I wasn't ready. Like, I hid from my debut date. I was like, I'm going on vacation that week, and actually I can't be here. And then like a month or 2 later, he's like, "Oh, you're not escaping me this time." So then my debut was against Shotzi, but
Shoved you in there.
Oh, shoved is the nice word. But that's the case with a lot of these females because now again, luckily at this time, there's more females that are joining wrestling, getting involved. But yeah, for my group of girls, like it's the same case for a lot of us. And
So you debuted against Shotzi?
yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, no pressure, right?
Right,
And
no
then
shit.
my third match was Thunder Rosa.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they threw you to the wolves right away.
Oof, I got eaten alive, man. It's okay.
How long ago was this? I'm trying to wrap my brain around kind of like their skill level.
Yeah.
Because Thunder Rosa, for example, she's a little older in age, but she's not a veteran by any means. Like, she's still relatively new in the business. She started at a very late age.
Yeah.
But Shotzi, how long has Shotzi? I think Shotzi's been in the business like
been
less
for a
than
minute.
8 years or so like that, right? I
Yeah,
think
she's
it's-
been longer. I think maybe her and Rosa are around the same.
Yeah.
Almost like 10 years, bro.
So
Something like
at
that.
the
Yeah.
time, they're probably only maybe a handful of years ahead of you.
Right. I think Thunder was 3,
Yeah.
4 years in
So
because
they're still learning basically at the time when
Yeah.
you're getting in.
yeah, and I technically wasn't even. If you think about it from the day that I started training, I wasn't even a year in yet.
Yeah. You get people when they hear that statement and they picture them because of where they're at now.
Yep.
But in reality, when you were wrestling them, they were still learning, just like you were.
Right, and I think Shotzi was phenomenal, and I don't know if she had a similar background, but she was great, and she knew it was my first match, and we actually went the day of, she went out of her way so we could go over some
Nice.
stuff. And again, like looking back, it was like I wouldn't even say wrestling 101. It was like wrestling 95, you know, like,
Remedial.
but and she like was just like, yeah, whatever you need. Like, and she double shot that day too. And she took her time after the match to make sure I was okay and all that stuff. And it was great.
That's awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah. So my first experience going into wrestling, and I was, again, I'm a very, like, everything happens for a reason. My favorite color is green, like neon green. So she got that green hair. I was like, this is like some weird, like, poetry universe thing. I know it's like weird because it's your hair color, but anyway.
She had it at that time also?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
She's
she's
been
always
green
had that.
for a long time.
Yeah, okay.
I loved it. And it was funny because her character was something that I kind of, I'm not going to say that word. I can't think of it. I guess
concocted?
Yes, thank you. I have a fucked up accent. And my jaw's messed up. So we're all messed up here. But yeah, like I kind of drew up that character a little bit because Mischief, I saw her on Shimmer a little bit and I thought she was cool. So I was like, green's my favorite color. So it was interesting wrestling Shotzi, which was somebody who I imagined myself possibly being a character of. So it was really cool.
So you're wrestling yourself, basically.
Yeah.
You were like, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah, right? I wish. But yeah, no, so yeah, I was going back to what we were saying earlier. My group of girls, we all have the same story kind of. So we're all teaching ourselves. And even now, because there weren't a lot of females, we don't have any veterans. So we're trying to, in a way, play vet, even though we're not vet to even the newer girls, and still trying to learn. And so it's like, it's a weird, different pressure and then guys have the opposite where there's so many and it's oversaturated and they're just like, give me something, you know?
So now as you're coming in, and there's very few women at the time you come in, was the male talent, were they open to you guys and welcoming to you guys? Or were they like, you know, female wrestlers, fuck that, you know, we're not going to give them the attention.
Because there's horror stories of them not wanting to work with women. At least back when we were breaking in, if we would see a girl come in, chances are they were going to be a valet. They were going to be ring girl, maybe a referee if most. But when they did come in to be wrestlers, there was always issues that not everyone was open to training them. So it was always like, who are they going to spar with? It's like, they're not going to spar with me. None of the guys wanted to get into that aspect of it. So I could imagine that at least with you, there's girls to spar with. There's all that good stuff there. But did you have any hesitation from the men to teach you guys?
No, and I remember my first day of training, and a couple of the guys could vouch for me because it was funny. I remember I was like, I'm gonna make sure they know I'm here on business, because I'm like, I'm not, well, one, I was like, I'm not gonna have none of you guys hit on me, because that's not gonna be a thing. I'm like, I'm here to freaking work. I want to learn. So I came in these big ass basketball shorts and this like wife beater t-shirt, braided hair. I was like, let's go. Cause I was just like,
looking
we're
hood,
here.
bro.
Yeah. I was like,
hood, bro.
Chicago, bro. I was like,
scary as hell. I was like, fuck that.
put some black eyeliner like under my eyes, like just crazy.
Smoking a big old cigar.
Oh yeah. Spitting all that stuff. Damn right. But no, I did, because I was just like, again, I understand, especially being a female in sports. Like, luckily, I grew up in co-ed sports up until high school, where, you know, you can't do that anymore. It's stupid. But yeah, I grew up in co-ed sports, so I knew how it was. But I was always the girl that was like, nah, I'm gonna, like soccer, co-ed sports there, co-ed soccer. The guys would try to be some type of way, and I'm like, cool, you could be a little bitch, but I'm gonna bump you. So I'd go and I'd run into them. I was the enforcer in soccer. And then once they realized that, they're like, okay, she's like here to play. But then again, that's how you get better. And that's something that that was my main point of looking the way I did coming in there, was just like, no, I want you to treat me like a wrestler. Like, I need to learn. Like, you babying me, I'm not gonna learn.
Right.
It's not gonna benefit me.
That's badass. Because right now, when you said you were an enforcer on the field, my son just had a championship game against a female team from their same school. They both made it to the finals. So it was the boys team versus the girls team. They're all the same age. And some of those girls were mean.
We're mean, dude.
They were bumping our boys to the ground. They were beating the shit out of them. There was more like injury time on the boys' side than there was other girls.
Really?
The girls were walking around like
100%.
I was like, what
dude,
the fuck is this shit?
we're a breed, man. And then Lily, damn,
Pescadita?
Yes, thank you. Her and I would talk because we both have a soccer background, and we realized, we both we like soccer, all that stuff, and we were just talking about our backgrounds. I was like, yeah, I was like how you have the leagues on the weekends where it's like the uncle's usually the coach. Yeah, I was the one. You know how you always have that one white girl. Guess who that was? So she was like, oh, you were that girl. I was like, yeah, that was me. So like, those are good weekends. Good times, guys. Good times. But yeah, just going back to like, yeah. So when it came to wrestling, like I've always been like that because I think the background that I had with my older cousins, they were 5 and 6 years older than me, so they were aware, like, all right, we can't murder her entirely, but we're gonna rough her up because so it would make me try harder. So I think I've just always had that mentality, and then just me always being stubborn and competitive always helps. So yeah, here we are.
So now wrestling's going on. You're patterning yourself. You're going in there to I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Now that you're practicing and you're having your first couple matches, now that it's time to kind of develop a character, who are you looking for influences as far as like TV or anything like that? Are you patterning yourself like on other wrestlers? Example, Lita, things like that. Where is the humble beginnings of Missa as a character?
Missa Kate's humble. When I first started, it was just kind of like, hey, I'm a wrestler chick, right? And one thing that, again, through me listening to podcasts and all that stuff, you want to learn marketing. You want to look at the market out there. What's all the girls doing? What are they not doing? What are they wearing? What are they not wearing? So a lot of things that I discovered were there are a lot of girls out there that were in the booty shorts and the bras and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to do that. So I wore capris and like a regular sports bra with a belt. And then I was like, okay, a lot of them are girly or feminine, or they have like this wild out there character. I was like, I kind of used to skateboard a little bit. I was like, I'm a little bit of a punk grown up. So I was like, I like Vans. So that's why I did the checkered thing, which everyone thought I was like some kind of NASCAR driver or like, I was like
Spark Plug Holly.
Yeah, no joke. People were asking me all the time.
Molly Holly.
Yeah, they're like, oh, after Holly, I was like, no, like not at all. I was like, what are you talking about? So that's just kind of because I didn't really have an idea for the character. When I first started, I'm not gonna lie, somebody that I got compared to a lot was Kylie Rae, and I think it's a mixture of.
I can see the similarities. I can see how they can.
But I definitely know I'm a lot more rough around the edges than she is. She's a lot more. Yeah,
I think she leans more on the girlier side
100%.
than you do in terms of what your presentations are.
Right, and so. When I heard that, I was like, okay, well, how can I, again, because she was, especially at the time, this is before she signed with AEW. This is when she was on the up and up.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be looked at that, so how can I go way left field? And eventually over time, I brought out some sweatpants. And that's where the Lita character Lita inspiration came from, because I'm talking to a bunch of people. They're like, well, look at the people that inspired you. Try to take from them, start there, have that be your foundation, and then you'll grow from there. So growing up, I remember one thing, I freaking live in the sweatpants, but she used to always wear the baggy pants, right? And then even John Cena, the cargos and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, how can I make this my own? And a weird thing, and I don't know, and this is why I need to wear the sweatpants. This was my decision making. I remember growing up when the guys used to pants each other, and I thought that was really funny. So what if I do that in my matches? So my whole reason for getting the sweatpants was I loved getting pants. Because I thought it was like I love your facial expression now.
I'm having thoughts. So
Flashbacks?
I'm going I'm just picturing you talking a match over with somebody. Okay, this is the spot I want to do. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the person going
Exactly. Yes. You have no idea. You have no idea. And when I did that at NWA, Jazz was the agent. That was her face. She was like, I'm sorry, you want them to what? It was just like, are you sure? Like, why? And I was just like, it's just like this
I'm
thing.
curious. So did you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you do it. And now what does Jazz say after the match?
She thought it was funny. Yeah, she was like, okay, I see.
Because there's difference saying it and then actually doing it and getting a reaction from the crowd.
Which
Right.
is like, I can see her face because I'm like, that's literally where I put myself in. I'm like, I'm the agent and I'm listening to this, or I'm the person that's about to work you, and you're telling me this. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but yes, I think it depended on like the age group because for some reason my generation likes sexually harassing each other growing up, so pantsing was like so funny to us. Again, the guys wouldn't do it to the girls because at least there was like somewhat respect there. There's other things, but anyway, we're not gonna talk about it. So, but yeah, and I was just like, when I did that, it was cool because my age group, I didn't realize. I thought it was just my group of friends. I didn't realize like across the country, this is like a generation like thing. Like people were pantsing each other all the time. I had people in like Kentucky or like the East Coast, the West Coast being like, oh, I remember doing that with my friends growing up. So I'm like, cool.
My fucking uncles would do it to me.
Yeah.
As a
so
kid,
it's just be an asshole.
Yeah.
So, and especially as a heel, like I thought it'd be, tables get turned a little bit. And then there's other stuff that I want to do that never like got done that I'm going to save because if I ever bring them back one day, which I will in a different way, I'm planning on it. But yeah, so just kind of character development. That was my way of starting to get comfortable, I guess. Like as we were talking about earlier, the stage fright. I was like, I have no problem making fun of myself. I do it on a daily basis. I don't even have to try. So I'm like, I could do that in the ring. And if I can make people, connect with that and laugh and like, a little bit of nostalgia.
Yeah.
So that was fun for me. So yeah, character-wise, now I'm just trying to really deep dive in the heel and being a heel and Missa Kate. How can I make her bitchy? Like, how can I make the bully at school? Like, what was it about that bully that you couldn't stand? And it sucked too because it's that bully that. They could beat your ass, so you can't really do anything about it, but at the same time, you still want to see their downfall. You're still waiting for it. And then on the opposite side, as a good guy, I'm the bully that beats up the bullies. So, yeah.
I'm glad that you noticed in terms of trying to separate yourself from the bunch, because now as we're talking about female wrestling being so popular nowadays in terms of being healthy, so to speak, in the business. One of the issues that I found with female wrestling is that you're right. A lot of them do look like very cookie cutter type stuff. They all wear very similar outfits. And
some might say figure skater outfits.
Thank you. And it's weird because sometimes I see some of the gear makers and they're pumping out almost identical gear for a lot of women. Same style, same cuts, same everything, different colors. But everything looks the same. Yeah. So in a business where we're taught, so to speak, to stand out from the bunch, not many women are standing out from the bunch right now. I think you're still in a very accepting era of pro wrestling where women are starting to like be these stars. But in a sense, we're not having a whole lot of trailblazers stand out from that bunch. And I like the fact that you are going against that grain because right now you are attempting to be that exception. Because you turn on TV right now in WWE and in AEW, a lot of them are wearing very similar outfits, and it's kind of boring. Like the Thunder Rosas stick out because what she's looking for. Right. She's doing that. The Nia Jaxes stick out because they don't look like every other girl on TV, and I like that stuff. Bailey, she sticks out. Her gear isn't similar to any other girls, so their style may be similar in the way they wrestle, but at least their presentation and their demeanor is different. So that's kind of cool that you're going and you're very conscious about your decision of what you're doing. I really dig that.
That is one thing I noticed about you was your gear, the way you presented yourself. It was different, and I like that. I was like, oh shit, it's different because it's not something you see on every female wrestler. Even my wife, I mean, she watches it, but she watches it like if I'm watching it, or she'll watch she'll go to my shows and she'll watch me. If I watch it on TV, she'll watch with me. But she's even pointed out like a Bailey, like a Nia Jax, like she's like, oh, I like these girls because they look different from everybody else. They're not half naked like everyone else. Like they got a certain style to them. She was that's cool. So I like seeing that. So it appeases the eye even to female audiences. So yeah, that's something I noticed from you off the bat is your style. I thought it was badass.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just growing up, I've always been that person too. Like I've always sometimes against the grain where I'm just like, I'm gonna fight this just because you like it. But there's sometimes where I'm just like, no, it's just like it's okay not to follow trends. Why not be a trendsetter? you know. I'm not trying to say anything, but when I started wearing the sweatpants, I started noticing a lot of other girls started.
Fucking say it, girl. Go ahead. Say it with your chest.
Shooting, baby.
No, but I did notice once I started wearing sweatpants, like I started seeing all these other girls start where like it was more gear made. But I was like, Bailey showed up on TV with some baggy pants after that. Not saying she saw me, but I was just like, coincidence. But no, there was, because I think even in Japan, like I noticed some of the girls were getting like sweatpants and stuff like that. Or like sweat, baggy style pants. And I was like, to me, that's cool. And I of course, I mean, Missa Kate's going to say I started it, obviously. But even if I didn't, like if I did or I didn't, whatever the case is, like, it's different, and that's something I guess as another reason for wrestling. You guys are getting all the scoop today.
Yeah.
I'm usually pretty quiet. That means I feel comfortable here. It's the vibe. It's the cigar. Yeah.
That's what we try to do. We try to get scoop.
But no, like in just growing up again, because I was so different from the pack, from the regular girls, like growing up, which there were issues sometimes. But that's something where, for me, when I look into the crowd or like when a little girl comes up to me after the show, even as a bad guy, and they're just like, oh, you're cool because you're different. I'm like, cool, good, do that. Because it's like, you don't have to be the Kim Kardashians. You don't have to follow this. I Love Lucy is my girl, Lucille Ball. So there's a quote that I saw, and ever since to this day, it says, in a world full of Kims, be a Lucy.
See,
Nice.
but and that's so true, especially nowadays with social media. Everything is all like Instagram models and fucking, surgeries done, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I feel like social media and society is trying to tell people this is what you're supposed to look like,
And who are they to tell you who you're supposed to be?
Yeah. Exactly. So then to see you had given, to see little girls come up to you and say, hey, I like the way you look. To them to be, you know what? I don't have to look like everyone else. I don't have to look the way society's telling me to look. I don't have to look the way that, social media's telling me to look. I want to look like this girl. She looks cool. That's how I want to look.
Yeah.
I'm loving that happened to you while you were being a heel too.
Yeah.
That's the part that messes with my head, because I'm like, I want to be a bitch to you
I know.
right now, but I'm like, how do I be a bitch to a kid right now? So you gotta try to find the happy medium.
I told Danny not too long ago, we've been out for a little bit over a year. He was injured. So I've been going to the shows, sitting out and helping backstage, whatnot. And I was hanging out watching one of the shows one day, and this little girl and her, I think her little brother, come up to me. She's like, Xavier, when are you and Ramon coming back? And I'm looking at him, and I'm always a heel, and I always want to stay true to myself. Like in terms of being a heel, I hate being a baby, so I'm like acting like a tough guy. And like, you're our favorite, and I go, fuck. Because they're little kids and you want to be a dick.
Yeah. But you're being nice to me.
And I'm like
So
trying to
what do I
bite my
do?
tongue.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Smack him, walk away.
I'm like,
Kick him.
I gotta go upstairs. Someone's calling me.
You go upstairs, you're crying. You're like, oh my God, they love me.
He's texting
We
me.
have one fan.
He's texting me. He's texting me, bro. I think I actually have feelings. I'm like, the fuck? The fuck is going on?
That's
Who
when the,
broke you?
What is going on over
the
there?
Taylor Swift music comes into play.
Yeah, right?
Is that Taylor Swift in the background? No.
He has the wig on.
Right.
Crying.
Cypress Hill.
Drinking a bottle of wine. Rocking back
Right?
and forth in a corner.
She wears short skirts. I wear t-shirts. Right? Is that what you're doing?
I love it, dude.
Oh yeah, definitely hard when those little ones come to you and tell you that, because
Yeah.
you want to stay in character so much. I've been mean to like older people, like
That's easy.
That's
Yeah.
easy, but it's so hard to do it to the little ones, and you're like,
I did this show. So when I'm, in the ring, that stuff, that's easier. Okay, there's two stories. One, I did make a kid cry, and I had a parent after the show. Be like, you
Awesome.
made my kid cry.
I love that.
Yeah.
We need to hear about that.
The worker, huh?
We need to hear about that. How'd you make
yeah.
your kid cry?
I guess I just yelled at him a little bit too much. I don't really remember.
Did you swear at him?
Probably.
Fuck you, kid. Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I don't remember. I think I did just yell at him or something. I told him to sit down. So I was like, sit your ass down or something. He just like melted. And then after, the mom came up to me, was like, you made my son cry. It's like, oh, sorry. Like, yes.
Yeah.
And then you gotta do the whole like, oh, you okay? You want a picture? Okay.
You give him a picture, turn around to the adult. That's $20.
Yeah.
I have Zelle. I have
Make the
Zelle.
money.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that's not how that went, but like, I'm charged. Signed with the tears, and but no, like, now that was like, and I did feel like a little bad because that was when I first started being heel, so I did have a little bit more sympathy. But I'm like, no, that's what you got to work for. That means I did my job. Now I'm like, oh, now how many kids can I make cry? And there was a show that I did not that long ago, and I was just in this kid's face, and he was giving it back to me. I was like, oh, we're going, and I like, he had his glasses on, and I tried to take them. And he, like, dodged it real quick. I was like, oh, you got lucky. He's like, yeah, that's right. And he's, like, trying to get on top. I was like, sit your little ass down. I was like, forget it. Just get out of here. But, yeah, no, kids are funny.
Dude, I don't know if you remember what time we were at. I think we were at T Woods. And playing the heel, you know, I'm getting worked on. Boom, I get bumped. I roll to the outside. And I sit in one of the chairs in the front row. And there's this little kid sitting right next to me, right in that chair. And he's eating pizza. I don't know if you remember this. He's eating pizza. This kid probably had maybe 3 bites left, dude. And I remember I sat there and I just took it and I took like a big ass bite out of it where I left him like this much left. And I put it back on his plate. Dude, this kid goes, he's like, Ma, he ate my pizza. And he just started crying.
It was like a $12 pizza, too. So now you got the parent pissed at you. Man, I gotta get this kid another $12 piece or slice. Oh man, that's awesome. That's a heel right there. Kudos.
As a heel, these are the moments that we live for, man. I love pissing people off beyond belief. Like, I don't want to be asked for an autograph. I want to be hated so much that they truly, truly despise me. When we did the spot over in Rumples, we went out and we pile drove this chick once. And
that sounds weird out of context.
Bro, that sounds like a fucking Pornhub search fucking bar, dude.
That's gonna be the hook for this.
Pile driving women.
We pile drove.
Side note, it was Missa who said it, not us. We ended up doing this spot where we did a pile driver on Sandra D, and we got hated so much. People were throwing debris at us and this and that. We had
A fight broke out afterwards.
And the fight broke out. And the thing was, we were backstage and all this stuff's going on. And we didn't realize that the fight broke out because of something we did. Because it happened after the show.
We're in the back changing.
We're in the back changing. And there's all these people running.
That's what I'm mad about. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, dude, so-and-so just punched somebody. This and that. There's some people out there. I'm like, well, what's going on? We opened the curtain. It was like, they're trying to get back out there and like get down to Danny and Javier. It's like, what? Are you serious? And they're like, and somebody comes back. It's like, it's because of you assholes. This and that. And me and Danny turn around and have this huge smile on our face. Yeah.
Like the jump in the air and everything. Yeah.
We're like, we did that? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love those moments, man. The idea that you basically can manipulate someone's emotions that way. They're going to leave that show knowing who you are, and they're never going to forget you.
Yep.
Whether they're fans or not, they're always going to remember Missa Kate.
Yep.
And I love that shit. But the fact that you're truly wanting to live the heel character, I fucking love that. I respect that more when people like have that true heel moments. When Jimmy told us this, and I thought this was the best compliment one of the best compliments I think I've ever gotten as a pro wrestler. Like, we had just lost a tag team.
Mine was you look tall on camera. I was like, really? I was like, all right.
Jimmy came to us, and it was literally we had just lost the titles. We were back, just getting changed, getting ready to go home. And he comes to us and it's like, hey, I just want to say thank you. And we're like, for what? It's like, you guys literally went out there the entire time you guys were champs, and you guys truly lived like real heels. It's like you guys did not waver one bit. You guys were really, truly old school heels. And I was like, I want to cry. This is awesome.
Your bitch ass.
Something
Bitch
about
ass.
being told that like we were assholes, and, like every step of the way was really, really cool.
Nice.
So I'm glad that you're enjoying
What
those
was
heel
your
moments.
What was your greatest heel moment?
Probably making that kid cry.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So as a female, it's a lot harder. Especially, it's harder to make men hate you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because for some reason, men love the bitchy women.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They're called toxicas, bro.
Yeah, they are.
Well, because it keeps things interesting, you know?
Yeah.
And then, well, it's the same thing like girls, right? Like, we go after the dudes that we shouldn't be going after. Oh, what do you mean? Like, yeah, he's a dick, but he's not when it's just us. It's like, no, he's a dick when it's just us two. Stop lying.
Taylor Swift thinks a lot about those guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know all about that. Do we need to have a therapy session? Are you trying to tell us something? But yeah, so it's like, and especially, not trying to say whatever, but I am aware, like, I'm in shape and I'm like, I have certain assets. So especially being a female with those things, it's really hard to make guys not like you. So my goal ultimately is like, okay, how can I make the guys just can't stand me?
Cover up.
That don't work.
It don't work.
It don't work.
Come up with like a whole.
No, because then they come to the show, they're like, maybe I'm gonna see something this time. You know what I mean?
Who did
it's
that?
like
The Right to Censor. What's her name?
Ivory.
Ivory. There you go. She did. Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's the whole thing too, where it's just like, but I'm proud of my body, so I want to, I put work into this shit. So it's like, yeah, there's so many. The overthinking is insane going on in here. You guys don't want to walk in there, and
You'll get lost in there.
I get lost. You guys need to help me come back sometimes. But that, and then another goal of mine being a heel is wrestling a guy, babyface, and getting over as a heel. That is probably the hardest because guys don't want to see. Well, some guys do. Some guys like watching, which I'm like, you got some issues.
That's another Pornhub search.
Jesus Christ, you two. How am I the nice one in this conversation right now?
Because you invited Missa Kate on a podcast, all right?
She kept it open for conversation when she said that. Okay.
I'm usually the weird one, man. I'm usually the asshole in this.
I'm like really scared to see his search history based on how he's asking.
You don't want to see it.
I know.
Yeah.
Why do you know what his search
You don't want to
history
see
is?
it.
You guys watch together?
Because he'll text
Is
me
there a
and tell me
circle
about it.
going
I'm
on?
like, bro,
Bro, I just found this really cool.
I'm with the wife and kids right now. Please stop.
Send me the
You're
link.
like, babe, I'm going to the bathroom real quick.
But do send me the link.
But yeah, I'll watch it later. Yeah.
Kids go to bed at 10, bro.
10:01 send you the video. You're just like ding, ding, ding. Like your phone's just going off.
Damn.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So I'm like, as a female, like I just wanna. That's a goal. So I'm like, that's kind of where I'm at. My heel work right now is like, yeah, there's a lot of evolving, and yeah, a lot of. When I first started I was very covered up for multiple reasons. I had younger cousins and stuff, and again, I don't want girls to be like, oh, you get by your body, but I'm like, at the same time, I don't want somebody to be ashamed of their body. So that's
Right.
kind of where my head's at now. So, yeah, there's a lot of changes going on and evolutions happening.
So earlier you said your influence was Lita, and now who are you watching nowadays? Because like now the landscape of women wrestling's, I mean, with WWE, AEW, TNA, I mean, there's female wrestlers that are just killing it right now. So who are ones you're watching right now?
So, I still go back, and it's like nothing towards the girls that are wrestling right now. It's just, I feel like when you go back, a lot of them have more of their own identities. Or now, because everyone's going through the machine, as we like to say,
Yeah.
they don't have their own spices to them.
Right.
Yeah, back then it was few and far between, so it made them more unique.
Exactly. So I still watch like Michelle McCool. She's somebody that I feel like is very underrated.
Yes.
Maurice, Melina, China. So like Ruthless Mickey James, Victoria, beautiful people, just like still those kind of girls, and ODB. I'll sit here all day. But yeah, when it comes to girls, but when it comes to guys, and again, now the knowledge that I have, and it's really hard to watch him, but Shawn Michaels, because he captivates you every match. It's really hard to watch and study that motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like even with the sound off, and I'm just like, okay, like I got to rewind stuff like multiple times, and but yeah, there's just different people for different things now that I'm more, I'm smartened up a little bit more about the business, so. Rock, Stone Cold, I'll watch for, John Cena promos, CM Punk promos, in-ring work, selling, all that stuff. Again, people like Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, oh my gosh, great at everything.
Let me ask you this. Now you're talking about doing all this homework. When we are in the business, we kind of tend to look at pro wrestling in a different light. We kind of know what's behind the curtain.
Yes.
So it becomes a little harder to truly love something. I remember watching Shawn and Taker at WrestleMania, and they were so good that they made me forget that I was looking at all the little nuances that we normally watch in matches.
Yep.
At the end of that match, I did not remember nitpicking it like I normally do other matches, and I went, "Holy shit!" My mind was blown.
Yep.
As you're telling me that you're watching the Shawn Michaels matches and doing all this stuff and kind of nitpicking and kind of like, oh, this is how they're selling this. Is there anyone that makes you forget that you're doing that?
Yeah, Shawn Michaels. Sometimes John Cena, depending on the match. And I know some people are like, oh, but like
He's very underrated in our circle. You know what I mean? Like in
Yeah.
the fans, everyone goes, Cena this, Cena that. But in our circles, we know we give him his props for what he does. He's a very underrated guy.
he is. He gives everything in there, and he you know, Trish Stratus is another one. I didn't mention her earlier, but yeah, it's just Eddie Guerrero is another one that gets you. I mean, there's certain things, but yeah, it's very hard once you get in. Now I'll have my little crew, the little dream team, I like to say. Taz, Nene, Carla, Jordan, all of us. We're in the Missa Mania videos. Feel free to go back and watch, guys. There might be more coming soon. We're working on things.
Missa Mania running wild, brother.
Oh, always. But when we started becoming friends, and again, they have more, not Jordan. Sorry, Jordan, but
Sorry, Jordan.
Don't get in a ring, bro.
Don't get in the ring, bro.
I love you, homie, but stay out of the ring. Yeah, when they have the MMA background, Taz has his own Warrior MMA over in Chinatown, and he owns it. So it was interesting learning MMA, and I was kind of teaching him wrestling. I was pulling back the curtain for him.
Okay.
And now, how you're saying, when you learn, I was doing that to him, and I warned him ahead of time. I was like, look, dude, I'm like, are you sure you want to get into this? Because I'm about to ruin wrestling for you for the rest of your life. And he's like, yeah, let's go. I was like, all right. And I remember getting a phone call one day. He's like, it happened. He's like, without me even realizing, he's like, I was watching Raw, and I'm sitting here, and I'm doing, oh, why'd you do that? And he's like, you ruined it for me. I'm like, I told you. I tried warning you. You didn't believe me. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, so I have a hard time not nitpicking. So what helps me is my friends and family, that they support me for wrestling, but they don't give a shit about it. Like, let's be honest, they don't give a shit. So if I watch a match with them, so like we'll say we watched myself and Queen Aminata this past week on AEW. I'm sitting there and I was like, yeah, it was a minute. But I could come up with about 20 things that I could have done differently in that 60 seconds. And my mom and my stepdad and even my grandma, they're just like, you did good. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what's you did what you're supposed to. And I was just like, no, but, and so I rewound it like 6 times. I was like, see? And then here, and they're just like, okay, well, now that you're telling us, but like, so I have to take a step back sometimes.
We have to be conscious of the fact that the untrained eye is really who's actually,
Exactly.
they're the fans. They're going to love what they love, and we're going to be the biggest critics of our own work.
And it's such like a breath of fresh air, because you don't realize how much pressure you put on yourself and how much especially me, how much you overthink. And when you just sit back and you watch a match with somebody who knows nothing really about wrestling, and you listen to what they're looking for, and you're like, that's what you're worried about? That's what you like? I'm over here worried about these 12 things, and you're like, oh, that was dope. I'm like, it didn't even make sense. So, but it's just stuff like that. So, and again, I think that's Missa Kate as she's evolving in the ring. Melissa outside the ring also broke the fourth wall. She's also evolving because I am staying close to family and friends and keeping my circle small. And in doing so, Missa Kate's growing. So it's...
How much of the business were you smart to before you actually joined pro wrestling? Did you know much about what was happening backstage already?
Yes and no. Because of the endless hours I would listen to podcasts or try to watch stuff. And now, obviously, we're a lot more open to peeling back the curtain, which I still try my best to not. But there's certain things I'll never say, but there's certain things where it's like, it's out there already, so there we go. I was able to read between the lines a little bit in those interviews where they, if you go back and you watch the guys from Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, where they're like filtering the wordage and all that stuff, right?
You can read between the lines, yeah.
Yeah, and what did I say? Wordage? Is that a word? I just realized that
It's a word today.
It is.
We'll make
Damn
it a word
right.
today, yeah.
Missa Kate made it a word.
Yes.
Verbiage. Thank you, brain. And it's just so yes, watching that, and I somehow was able to see between the lines, and so I knew a little bit going into it. And I would surprise some veterans, we'll say. And I've been told, like, since I started, like, your IQ is like, it's in a good way, it's surprising. Like, your wrestling IQ. Like, you think about stuff that other people don't realize. And, like, yeah, because I've literally, like, when people will be like, oh, this is my life. Like, no, this is my life. Like, when I'm passionate about something, and wrestling was my first love. I think it's going to be my only love, and I'm fine with that. It's too much work, bro. It's just too much work.
How do you feel about that, considering you said that about how a lot of people always go, wrestling you love, but it doesn't love you back?
Yes and no. Yes, I agree with that to an extent. Like, you have to come to the realization of, yeah, no matter how much love you get into it, you're not ever going to be receiving what you want back from that. You can have moments, like, to me, those moments are when I am giving fans, like, memories, and like, they're coming up to me, so that's how I get fulfilled with it, I guess.
You fill your love tank.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
It's buried underneath.
It's buried underneath all the bitchiness. But yeah, so stuff like that. And maybe, like, being able to help other people, like, if I can't do something, maybe I can't get to I can. I'm not saying I can't. I'm just making that clear right now. But if for some reason it's not my purpose in life to get to where I want, maybe I can help somebody else. And it's fun helping other people and seeing that light bulb. Because I like that moment when I have that light bulb go off, and when they show it in the ring and stuff like that. So I guess that's my joy out of wrestling, is like being able to do all that. But yeah, you still have to realize, like, this is, at the end of the day, this is a job, and it took me up until, I'd say, maybe like a year ago, if I'm being completely honest, to realize that, like, this is a job. Like, I love this job. I'm very fortunate, and I think a lot of people in this business forget that it's a job, because we see normal people, we'll say, can't stand their jobs, can't stand the 9 to 5. So the fact that we love it, no, this can't be a job because we love it. No, it's still a job.
Yeah.
It's still a job.
Yeah. You said you didn't realize that until about a year ago. You said, right? So how do you feel that it's changed? How do you feel as you just realized that a year ago? You're progressing. You're making big moves. You're making, you're getting on television. How do you feel that's changing you outside of wrestling?
It's making me separate the two now. Because once I started wrestling, like, I just completely just went, like, dove deep in. I'm trying not to say all in again.
I think TK told her, "Oh, you're going to a podcast tomorrow? Make sure you drop hints."
Yeah, right.
Drop hints.
I got you. I like those guys. You can tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
TK knows.
He knows what's up.
But yeah, so I got so tunnel visioned that I forgot, like, oh, there's real life going on. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. There's real life going on back here. And I sound like an asshole, but I put my family and my friends on the back burner. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, I know you guys are there. And that's bogus.
We do that. We all do that. We've all missed those birthday parties.
Yeah. And it's like, now I'm like, no, like, again, everyone has their opinion about Hulk Hogan, but the one thing I'll say about him is, when I would hear his interviews, he would say, no, I'm not missing birthdays, I'm not missing this, I'm not missing that. And that always stuck with me. I'm like, why? Like, at the beginning, I was just like, well, everybody else is doing it. Like, it was kind of like what makes you better.
Well, he did wrestle 400 times in 1 year. So he had to miss something that year.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. But yeah, so that something like that always stuck with me, and there's certain things, I don't know if you guys are the same way. Certain things will stick with you, and you're kind of like, I don't know why it's sticking with me, but this is a thought in my head until down the line something happens, and you're like, oh, so a year ago that's when that happened. Was just like, no, like this is, and again, I don't know where you guys are and believing in God and whatnot, but I am building my relationship with God.
I am a believer.
Yes.
My friend over here on the left, I will not speak for him. But just don't stand too close to him. Don't stand too close to him.
Might get hit by lightning or
No,
something.
it's okay.
I played the field.
I'll just kick you in the dick. It's okay. No, I'm just kidding. Pornhub again.
What is wrong with you two? Missa's got some explaining to do.
New t-shirt, bro. But yeah, so I think just in that journey and just realizing, you know, at the end of the day, like family is everything. And again, regardless of what you believe in, what you don't, again, I don't believe in religion, but I do believe in having a relationship with God, and that's something that's completely separate. And I think more people are coming.
Side note, it's really creepy that right now.
And then the
background-
church bells went off.
I mean, I do.
Jesus fucking Christ, he's here. He is listening.
Do you believe it now? Coincidence? I think not. I don't believe in coincidences. But yeah, I just think with that, and just, you know, I'm being blessed to give whatever talent that I am to do this.
Yeah.
So, but I can't forget the people that are helping me. And I am, again, I say it all the time, I'm so blessed that when I did wake up and realize, like, hey man, like I've been fucking up for the past like 4, 5, 6 years, like where I kind of, I was honest. I was like, I forgot about you guys to a degree, where I was just like, I'm doing my thing. And again, for my own reasons, and I'm not going to explain on here, like I know for certain things, but again, I'm very blessed that I have a good group of friends that were, yeah, it's okay, Melissa. Like, we know you're cool. It's like, we love you. Like, we understand, we know you. And that, to me, that's like real people. And so, I think being able to separate Missa Kate and Melissa is something where now, like, even visually, like, I'll have my own, don't go creep on it. But I have my own private Instagram now. So
everybody,
like
right now,
That's it.
yeah, right. Dude, people try to add me on Facebook all the time. That was like my original, like, oh, this is my separation. But I'm like, no, I need more, because I'm like, no, there needs to be a separation between work and real life.
Yeah.
And now I'm making that line drawn. So yeah. So and again, it benefits me, because then Missa Kate gets to grow. Because now I get to look at it as like, oh, as a character, what can I do? You know. So.
And I just fucking had my question. I lost it, bro. Shit. I did. I fucking lost it.
You're gonna find it. You're
I
gonna find
did.
it.
I did. I'm gonna find it. Hold on.
No, so I thought you were talking about like missing all these stuff and finally coming to the realization of, you know, the fact that it is a love story, so to speak, but it doesn't give you back. But as long as you understand that it's a business. When Bray Wyatt passed away, there was that, I think it was like I'm not sure if it was a Facebook, social media post or what it was, but it was the whole deal that he talked about wrestling as a love story. It was so strange that a lot of the workers in the industry around that time really like gravitated towards that. And I remember I loved Bray so much, but I thought it was the most hypocritical thing for all the workers to grasp onto that, because I always thought, I'm like, man, not a lot of people understand that at the end of the day, it's still a business, just like you said.
Yep.
And it's such a breath of fresh air to understand that, because I grew up being a huge Kevin Nash fan.
Okay.
Kevin Nash is one of the guys that does not fucking tell you any rosy, you know, things. He does not paint the world of pro wrestling with rainbows and flowers. He tells you that it's a business, and you get in there, you make what you got. You get your money, and you're there to take care of your family, and that's it.
Yep.
So it's so interesting that there's two ways of thought, and I'm kind of glad that someone like you has your head on your shoulders, where you understand that there is that, and it will give you something in return a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's a business. I love that about you.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that in the future, like some people that are listening to this and they're still kind of seeing wrestling through those like rosy glasses, they're seeing it like, oh my God, it's amazing. yeah, it's a great place for us to express our creative side and love it. But at the end of the day, make sure you're in there for the right reasons and not because you think it's gonna love you back. It's definitely not. There's a lot of bitter old vets out there in the industry that, that
And
definitely
then,
did not get loved back.
No, 100%. And then it's like now you see the newer kids coming in, even though I say newer kids, I'm still new, to an extent, and you see them like with that, how you say, like the deer in the headlights, sort of like it's just like everything is rainbow and butterflies, and it's weird because when you get out of that mindset, you're like, damn, that's what I looked like.
Yeah.
And then 2, you're like, you want to save them, and then 3, you're like, nah, that's their journey.
Yeah.
Like I'm here if you need me. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I'll give a little shout out to Rob Ego Anthony. He's someone for a very long time, and I appreciate him because I'm very stubborn. He has tried to beat it in my head. Well, this is a business. And I'm like, yeah. And then eventually it like clicked. And once it did, he was kind of like, thank you. Like, finally. Cause he's like, now we could, talk business. So yeah, it's just something where I hope a lot of people realize it. Again, it's everyone's journey. Everyone goes on it through it. You have to go through it because if you don't go through it, then you don't learn from it.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you ever feel, because I know you said you almost got your bachelor's degree. Is there ever a moment where you feel like, you know what, maybe I'll slow down in wrestling and just focus on getting this bachelor's for down the road, Obviously, we all love to wrestle forever, but, can't really do it forever. But do you ever feel like going back and getting it for, once you're done with wrestling to kind of maybe follow that journey again?
No, because school's always going to be there. Even when I was going to school, there were women in their 30s and 40s and stuff going back.
Yeah.
To where I'm like, and that was, again, I believe, everything happens for a reason. And I felt like God took me off that path because I'm a very 110 or 0 person. So if I'm being split every way, I will try to put 110 into everything, and it's impossible.
Yeah.
So I feel like that needed to be taken away. And then I don't know if you guys watched Trish Stratus's autobiography, where she said how she was trying to be a doctor, and something happened, and so that almost gave me confirmation because I'm not gonna lie, it's funny that you asked that because as of recently I was like, should I try to go back? Because my grandma's always like, you should go back to school, get your bachelor's. So it was like I was thinking about it just to like finish it and say that I did it, but then I watched that and I'm just like, no, I think I'm on the right path here, and there are certain things like I believe school to me is not today what it was before, where it's like now it's like you're going to get your bachelor's. Like, no, school's supposed to be like you want to go there to learn, and that's one of the reasons why I actually struggled I had to withdraw from some classes because I was in classes where the teachers, you could tell they're just like trying to get me through it. And I'm like, no, I'm not learning. Like, I don't learn like this. Like, you can't tell me to go read 10 chapters and then quiz me on it. 1, I got test anxiety. 2, I'm just going to fail this because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to memorize 10 chapters.
Right.
And then, like, what are you teaching me? I could go sit in a library then at this point. What am I paying you for? So... yeah, so when it comes to stuff like that, so unless I'm going and I know the teacher is going to actually teach me, like there's certain things like nutrition or, I've always been interested in how your body functions, how it works, how to make it better, how, healthy, all that stuff. Stuff that could benefit me that could also benefit wrestling. So, yeah, I've thought about stuff like that. But when I retire, I'm opening a dog rescue. So that's my goal.
Okay, there you go. Nice. Yeah. And
Now, that's a good segue. Let's talk about these dog rescues.
Talk about these bitches.
Jesus. This was a nice show once.
All these bitches.
Let's talk about these bitches. Fuck them kids. Let's talk about these bitches.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, what a bitch is at? So you're a dog lover.
A little bit.
A little bit?
A little bit.
Okay, so tell me about Missa Kate's dog sanctuary post-wrestling.
So post wrestling.
It's called Missa's Bitches, by the way.
Honestly, it
that's
should
a good
be.
one.
That'd
Missa
be a good
Bitches.
one.
I like that. Yeah.
Oh, maybe you know what? Maybe
That's
I
a good
should
one.
start. I'm making a T-shirt like that right now.
Mises bitches.
Mises bitches. That's
yeah.
that's your group. You know how everyone like
yep.
the Hulkamaniacs, the Canaanites.
We
Mrs.
found it. We
Mrs.
found it. You
Bitches.
heard it here
Bitches.
first.
Yes,
you heard
man.
You guys are
Damn.
not getting royalties on this.
Fuck.
But thank you
Damn
for the
it.
idea.
We always have T-shirts.
I
in every
signed no
episode.
waivers before coming.
Man. We gotta start having them sign waivers when they come in, bro. Fuck.
Anything that is said here, I get royalties from.
Dude, I cannot wait until you see a front row all wearing
Mises
Mises
bitches.
bitches.
Mises bitches.
Just
Man.
sign.
Yeah, just sign.
I'm a Missa bitch.
I'm a Mises
it.
bitch, and she's in the there you go.
That's
There
right.
you go.
Yeah, and no, I've always been an animal lover. Before I found wrestling, I actually wanted to be a vet.
Okay.
And then once you realize, like, you got to deal with the downside of that, I was like, I don't really want to do that. So I can't deal with the whole putting a dog down,
Yeah.
death, all that stuff. I'm like, no, I want to make people happy. I don't want to make them depressed. I don't want to be depressed. I do that enough on my own. So, like, yeah, I was like, that's not for me. So,
It takes a certain person to deal with that.
yeah,
that
or a
aspect of it.
psychopath.
Yeah.
Well, how, depending how you look at it.
My
Right, it's
cat,
true.
yeah, my cat recently passed, and we went to go to get her water cremated. And the guy that was doing the cremation, he was talking about it with such. He was very educated, so it was kind of comforting. But
No emotion.
there was no emotion in his, like, the tone of voice, everything that he used. He was so fucking dry. And again, he was very educational, so he made us kind of understand the process. But this is a guy that has gone through this 1,000,001 times now.
Yeah.
And we're just another customer. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, how is this guy? I can't do it. I would never be able to do his job.
Yeah.
Like, this is just something that has made my skin crawl.
He's doing it as he's doing. I can really go for some tacos right now. Yeah. Okay. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
it's nuts. Like, you're
Yeah.
right. It's the weird side of that. Yeah. My wife
Yeah.
wanted to do the same thing growing up, and it's like, I don't think she could have dealt with that either.
Yeah, no, and same thing, like, even in the health field, like, that's why I was like, physical therapy was the safe space, because I'm like, I mean, I worked in a clinic for a while. I had a certification to be an aide. So I did work, and you do see, like, some elderly and certain cases where it's like, oh, this is rough. But you try to make the best of it. But yeah, health field's the same thing. Like, you got to deal with 1,000,000 deaths all the time,
Yeah.
and then it sucks because it's like you need to learn how to be sympathetic. And I have seen people, even like on both sides, whether it's in the health field or in the animal field, right? Because I've worked at a pet rescue, and I've seen people be very sympathetic. And somebody specifically that I'm thinking of right now, I tell her all the time, like, I envy you that you have the grace that everybody who comes here, because there would be people that would try to drop off dogs that they can't take care of them, or it's sick, or try to, whatever the case may be. And she just was so, like, felt for them every time. And she was doing this for years. And before that, she's, like, worked with, like, tigers and wolves and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you're a beautiful human being. I don't know how you do it. And because, yeah, eventually you kind of have to disassociate a little bit, because because otherwise you feel it all the time. But anyway, getting back to the happy part, Mrs. Bitches.
Bitches.
But no, like, when I retire, I already want it. If it's not Mrs. Bitches, my idea would be to call it Grandpa's Angels. My grandfather, he was foreign, he came here from Macedonia at 18, didn't know English, nothing like that. And something he would always call me is Grandpa's Angel, Grandpa's Angel. So that was something where I was like, oh, I'd call him Grandpa's Angels. But it's just, I have so many different ideas, because just looking at the city and working at rescues and stuff like that, I would just how I would have it, and I would definitely have like a disciplinary or a delinquents area with the dogs that are a little like
Doggy jail.
yeah.
jail.
But now there might be a Mrs. Bitches. Those are gonna be like the super like baby
like the asshole dogs or the Mrs. Bitches?
Mrs.
The asshole
Bitch-
dogs?
Nah, Mrs. Bitches are gonna be like the Simps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but then the delinquents are gonna be the what? Yeah. yeah. So yeah.
Somebody's gonna snip that And use that for like some sort of like meme or some sort of.
Oh, please. Dude, we do it all the time. I'm going to see Mrs. Bitches. When I come out, if you don't start barking, oof.
See? Oh, see, that's a new thing now.
Just seeing a whole entrance
Missa
and-
Kate fans are now Mrs. Bitches, and they got her bark every time.
That's right.
She comes
Bark
out.
for me, bitch.
Yeah, see? Oh, see?
I got to come here often.
See? There you
just
go.
just for creative ideas.
There
Yeah,
you
right?
go. See?
I'm going to be
Look,
calling you guys
guys.
to be like, yo, what do you guys think about this?
Bark for me, bitch. I like,
Look,
see?
my career, I feel like I need a little something new. I need
like
to come back on
that.
the podcast real quick. Just jib jab a little bit and figure
I
out what we
like
come up with.
that. Next,
Missa Kate is evolving as we speak.
the next video promo you put on your social media, I want to see that. Missa Kate's
Gotcha.
bitches. Bark for me, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Shit.
I know it's weird because we talked about it, and Vince McMahon is not obviously a person that anybody talks about right now, but remember that when he made Trish bark?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm just picturing you like beating someone up and in the middle of matches be like, bark for me, bitch.
I love it.
I was like,
Dang, okay. Shit.
because you could have had all these like flippity flop shit. You could do all this amazing shit, but the person watching that match is gonna go home and go, the match was really cool. But you remember when Misa made that girl bark?
She made her bark.
As we start winding down here, I mean, we saw you on AEW last couple shows. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. One, how are you feeling? Obviously, you look back at the girl that signed up, very timid. There's very few girls that you're in the business with. Now you did NWA. You're getting matches on AEW. Like, how is that feeling right now?
It's surreal. It's very surreal. How we were talking about earlier, how it's like, yeah, when you point stuff out to me, I'm like, yeah, I did that stuff. Because you get so in the grind and so tunnel vision on doing certain things. But yeah, it's cool. And now the way that I approach life, I'm looking at it more of a blessing, and it's taking the anxiety out. Thank God. Because I used to be like, oh. So yeah, it's surreal to me. And then, I can't say certain conversations that I've been having, but there's a couple companies and a couple different things that are also being had and said, and just knowing everything that I know that you guys don't know yet, which is really fun. It's just stuff's moving in the right direction, and I'm really excited for the future. And I'm very blessed. That's all.
I'm very glad we got you on when we did.
Yeah, that's right.
Before she said, either Tony Khan won't let me or Paul Levesque won't let me.
It's amazing. Right now, the love that Heather Reckless is getting in the Indies, like she just signed with TNA. And obviously, this is a girl that has been in the Midwest, and a lot of the local talent has worked with her and has been in locker rooms with her. So all of us were so excited to see someone like that we know make it to that level. And there was a big show of support. I cannot wait until we turn on social media or turn on TV and we see blah, 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 whatever company signs Missa Kate. Because then I'm not saying that you're more beloved than that person. But
You can say it. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think when that does happen, there's going to be a huge show of support. Because I think that's going to be something that is going to definitely make waves in the Midwest area.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Can't wait to see Mrs. Bitches on TV.
Oh.
All right, to close out the show, give us one of Misa's favorite road stories. That was hilarious. Okay, Beavis.
So currently with Jordan, we've had a lot of fun times. Just because I get to be a complete asshole to him and he can't do shit back to me is the best part. So the first road trip him and I had together, and those of you who have driven with me, I am a safe driver, I will say. Just a crazy safe driver.
If you have to say I'm a safe driver, chances are you're not a safe driver.
No, I'm safe.
I swerve all over the place, but did you die?
Right.
This is true. My record is clean. I've always gotten hit. I've never hit nobody. I just want to put that out there.
I'm the one getting hit, guys.
So I got T-boned twice. I didn't T-bone nobody. But no, I like to say I'm an unregistered NASCAR driver. So anyway, so those have been in the car with me. Then they could vouch. Everyone said they're like, yeah, you're a little nuts, but like I feel safe with you because it's like you know what you're doing. Even though I'm terrified and pissing myself at the same time. But anyway, so yeah, Jordan's first experience, I guess, driving in a long car ride with me. We almost died, according to him. There was it happened a couple times, maybe in a matter of 5 minutes. I was trying to make an exit, and this truck was in my blind spot and I couldn't see it, and I'm trying to swerve over and he's just like, and I didn't see it, and I'm just like, oh, blind spot, and I just went here and I just waved the wheel out of the way. So that, I know it's like a small one, there's more, but after that, and then because I was laughing because he was just like so dramatic in the car with it. I'm sorry again. And he was just so dramatic in the car. And I'm crying, laughing because he's freaking out, thinking we almost just died. You're like, oh, blind spot. And like, it's more of a story that you have to be there. Telling it out loud, it's really not that interesting, I just realized. But, yeah, so there's that. So like,
the fact that you almost murdered someone, it's funny to you. It's not funny to anyone else.
Especially not Jordan.
Remember that time I
Yeah.
almost killed somebody?
He's over it. But there's like a little so yeah, just messing with Jordan. We went to a Cubs game once, so this isn't a road story, but we went to a Cubs game and I was just a dick, and I keep waters in my trunk. And he was in the passenger seat. I was like, hey, can you just like go climb over the seat and let me, just give me water? He's like, yeah, sure. So he goes, and as he's going, I brake hard as fuck. So he flies forward, and then I hit the gas, and then he flies back. He's like, what the fuck? And I'm just like in tears. So a lot of my road trip stories are just bullying Jordan.
I was about to say, it sounds like it mostly sounds like you're just fucking with Jordan the whole time.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
It doesn't sound safe at all, by the way.
No, not once.
No, there's times where I'm like, I drive by myself a lot. Like I've driven to St. Louis 6 hours by myself, Minnesota. I know I have good stories and I can't think of any of them right now because I'm on the spot. But do you guys have anything? Maybe it'll trigger something with me.
I know, right? It's weird. Like, I remember being in Maine, and it was one of the random stories. This is one of those that you mentioned right now. It's not as funny when you say it out loud. But I just remember.
Welcome to my world.
I just remember it was like, myself, Mecha Wolf, a couple of the Puerto Rican wrestlers like Chicano and Apollo, and a couple of the guys who were wrestling for NWA on Fire before like it like kind of went away, and now it's just Billy's stuff when it was still kind of like a bunch of indies.
Yeah.
And we were going through these big roads, and there was I think it was like Mexico, Maine or something. And we're driving. It was like a caravan of us. I think it was like 3 or 4 cars, like full of wrestlers. We're just going. And I think it was the second car, might have been ours. All of a sudden, just swerved like all over the road, and all the cars behind. I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is going on?" Like, so they're freaking out. Everybody gets up, like yelling, "Dude, what the fuck? There was a turtle on the road, bro. There's a turtle on the road." And me and Mecha Wolf are laughing because, we're video game guys. And we just started like, what the fuck kind of Mario Brothers shit are you talking about? This dude just did not want to hit a turtle. So he fucking freaked out, almost killed everyone on the back because everybody was like literally driving right next to each other. So there's all these cars swerving all over the road onto oncoming traffic, all because of a fucking turtle.
Fucking turtle.
And like I said, me and Mecha Wolf are cracking up. We're like, it's fucking Mario Brothers, dude.
I love it.
But like you said, these are random stories that to us, they're funny because we live them in the moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go,
That's not funny.
It's
Yeah.
it's not as funny.
But you weren't there, you don't get it. Yeah.
There's one that's kind of funny. Since you guys are talking Pornhub, I'm gonna join you guys.
Wow. Left field.
I know.
Let's go.
Wow. Okay. This is how we're closing it off, huh?
I think I told you this story one.
Oh, boy.
We were.
He's like, you were there.
No, he wasn't.
My wife watching the show. All right.
We were coming back from Michigan. I think we went to go wrestle maybe for like Freedom over in Cadillac or something. I can't remember. So we're coming back.
I just thought of a road story. Sorry.
There you go. See, this is what she wanted. She wanted.
It's
us
not
to
a funny
figure
one.
it.
It's kind of scary, but it's okay.
Pornhub sparked your memory.
Always. Pornhub sparks everything, man.
We're coming back, and you guys ever been on the road and seen those Lions Den adult book stores? Like they're pretty much everywhere on the road, right? We're coming back.
I've never been there, but I've seen them.
We all decided that it'd be pretty funny for all of us, like, to get out and go into it. So you're a bunch of wrestlers walking around through this like porn shop. Hey, we're all like shopping, and next thing you know, somebody finds inflatable boobs and and big old dildos. And one of the guys is walking around, and all of us are kind of just shopping and giggling and shit. Is late in the night.
Having sword fights.
And all of a sudden, somebody grabs one of these inflatable boobs and just launches it across the room. And one of the guys is there, boom, gets popped in the head by inflatable boobs. Like, what the fuck? Then he gets hit with a dildo. Ah! So we're beating the shit out of this dude with freaking boobs and dildos, and we just run off laughing. The attendants in the front going like, what the fuck? All of us take off, and he's there picking up all these like, sex toys.
Oh my god.
He's putting them back on the shelves. He's like, sorry. He just walks out, and we're cracking up outside in the parking lot.
You just made me think of 12 New Ways to Bully Jordan.
Sorry, Jordan.
He's getting beat up with a dildo.
Oh, man. His birthday's coming up in December.
Oh, shit.
Happy birthday, bitch. Oh, my God.
That's Missa's main bitch.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, he's the only one that gets that shirt.
That's it. Misa's main bitch.
Yep. You got that's high. That's elite, man.
So you said we just triggered a memory. So what was that?
So this one was kind of scary as a female driving by yourself. So I had a Chevy Cruze. That's all I have to say to begin the story, right? I had a Chevy Cruze. I think it was like an 06 or something. Or no, wait, I was way off. 11. It was a 2011. And I didn't realize I didn't get my oil changed in the car or anything like that. So, and I thought I was good. Now it's winter time. And of course, I have to drive to Minnesota where I have AEW the first night and then an indie show the next night. I'm driving, everything's fine. I didn't think anything about the oil. All of a sudden, lights start flashing in my car. I'm driving by myself. This was my first road trip that I'm driving this far by myself also to make it more fun, Stuff's flashing, like, oh, your oil's running, like, low. And I'm just like, it's at, like, 20%. And I was like, okay, Minnesota, it's like, what, like, 5 more hours? I got this. At the 3-hour mark, it's like 0%. You got no oil in your car. I was like, shit. And then all of a sudden, I think I had like not a flat tire, but my tire was also going out a little bit. Like I hit something and the tire's going out. And I'm just driving. You're just like at that point watching the GPS time just go down. I'm like, okay, I'm only 2 hours away. Like I can make this. Now my car starts like doing the
shimmy.
Yeah. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, nah, I got this. Somehow made it to the show because I had AEW. So I'm like, well, I can't, go to the mechanic. I'm just going to have to deal with it. Went to AEW, did extra work, and it's cold. So I'm like, oh boy. I was like, please start. So I get back in the car, and the car starts. I'm like, okay, we're good. Start driving, we're shaking. It's okay. We're shaking, we're rattling, we're rolling, we're going to the hotel. But luckily, at the time, like I was talking to one of the security guards, and I was just like, look, you have oil, something. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm a girl. I know some things about cars. I change brakes, but I don't know how to change oil for some reason. So he was just trying to help me out, and we set up somehow an appointment the next day to go to a dealership. And so the next day I wake up bright and early, and I'm driving, and I get there, and he's like, okay, yada yada, all this stuff, mechanic stuff. Okay, cool, fix my car. So I'm sitting, I'm waiting, and he goes and he comes back. He's like, okay, the fact that your car is running right now, we have no idea how. You had no coolant, zero coolant. You had no oil. The tires, he's like, you need new tires. So he fixed that. And there was something that like popped off, I think, under the engine. And I was just like, well, I got to drive back to Chicago tomorrow. And he's like, oof. I was like, that's not good. So like, he's like, okay, but like I fixed it. He's like, just go there and have your mechanic. Like, he's like, I'll fix it so you can get back to Chicago. And that's like the watered down version. There's stuff that happened like when I first got to the hotel. Like I couldn't check into the hotel. And
it was just a nightmare day.
It was a bad weekend, man. It was a rough weekend. And you want to say like testing like how much you love something I thought I wasn't, yeah. And the person that I was with at the time was not very supportive. He was just like, damn, that sucks. I was like, thanks, babe. Thanks. Appreciate the love and support. I'll just go fuck myself.
I'm hungry, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How you gonna do it? Huh? You gonna
Yeah.
make me a sandwich?
Bitching about his own problems as I'm over here. Like, I might die stranded, but that's okay as long as you're good. But yeah, so that's it. Yeah, as a female on the road, something you never want to happen, and then that happens when it's winter and like, yeah, it was.
Well, hopefully now when you go on these road trips, I'm hoping you're checking your car now.
Oh, every time.
Making
Yes,
sure.
that is my lesson. That is
Okay.
lesson learned. Just making sure I got coolant. I know how to do my own coolant now. I know how to put my own oil in. I am self-sufficient. I am INDEPENDT.
See? Look at that. That
I didn't spell that
experience
right, but you know what I
made-
mean.
Yes, there you go. That experience made you independent. Look
That's
at that.
right.
See?
Hey, I'm curious. And this will be the last question because I think I just had way too much time.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine. I'm having a
But
great time.
all of us always talk about like meeting our heroes, and you've obviously been booked in some pretty solid cards.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Lita and told her what she meant to you?
So, I'm pretty good at being in the mindset of like, okay, I'm at work. These are my
Peers.
yes. So we're working together. We're not on the same level, obviously, but like, no, we're here to do a job. So a lot of people that I met, like even at AEW, right? Like it's weird. Somebody mentioned to me like, you and Dustin Rhodes are like flipping each other off in the hallway, and I'm just like, yeah, that's like Dustin Rhodes, and you don't realize it because it's just like we're buddy buddy. So yeah, there's certain people, not to say like not disrespectfully, but it's cool that I'm able to do that, separate myself. Lita, haven't met, zero encounters with John Cena, unless I was a fan, but we could talk about that later.
He's sitting right there.
Yeah, I know, we just can't see him.
Yeah.
He follows me everywhere. He's waiting for me. Never mind. So we want to talk about Pornhub. So yeah, at this past WrestleMania, at Russell, I can always mess up the cons and the Cade. Russell Con, right, is in Philly for Mania. Okay, so there were 2 encounters I could have had with her, and I just froze, and I was just like I've never, I could, as you could tell, I could talk for days. I've never been speechless. And it was just like, and she was talking to somebody, so I'm like, I don't want to be disrespectful. And there was like another moment where I was just kind of like staring at her. I was like, okay, now I'm making this weird. Because she just kind of like, and then just walked away. I was like, I hope she doesn't remember me from this. But like Jordan being there and other people being there, they were trying to figure out a way for us to, and I was like, no, don't force it. It's going to happen when it's meant to happen, you know? So yeah, I had that encounter. It was very embarrassing. I
drove all the way from Chicago to come see you.
Yeah, right. Just there, just like, but yeah, other than that, like, I was supposed to actually possibly wrestle in front of her before COVID. Do you guys remember Shimmer and Rise and all that stuff? So yeah, Shimmer and Rise, all female, shows over here in Chicago. And, they were having this was the first time I was ever going to be on Rise. Almost like a tryout, we'll say, before the Rise show. And like Gail Kim, Lita. This is when they were like trying, Gail Kim, Lita, and I want to say Mickie James. I could be completely wrong. They were trying to make something. I don't know if it was a podcast or just like something, so that way they could help other female talent. And this was like the start of it. And they were gonna be there, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is insane. Obviously it got taken away because of COVID, because it was during that time. But yeah, I almost had that moment too. But the John Cena moment now. Oh, the John Cena. It's okay. I'm gonna play that off. The John Cena moment. Just like a little 5 knuckle shuffle. Pump it up. I was in the crowd, and I think I was like 10, and I would save money, like birthday money, Christmas money, like whatever, to buy tickets. And I used to do the old school thing where you stood outside the ticket booth in line in the cold. Now this internet bullshit that these kids do is fucking
Buy tickets
They don't
at one click away.
Yep. Bullshit. Just
I'm on a DVD for WrestleMania, having bought my tickets
Yeah.
and celebrating. I
Are
think
you
it was,
really?
It was in
That's
the Detroit
amazing.
one.
Yeah.
Like they
I
interviewed
remember
like a
you telling
bunch of
me.
people,
Yeah.
and they recorded, and then it's me like celebrating with the tickets, like bitches.
With the fucking dildo in your hand.
titty one hand, dildo other, tickets in his mouth. But yeah, so I remember. So I got like it was like 8 row behind commentary, and after the show, John Cena does what John Cena does like the dark matches or whatever. And after he's sitting there on the mic, me, because I just make friends with everybody, made friends with the girl sitting behind me, and we found out we're both obsessed with John Cena. Great. So now we're standing on the chairs, and he's cutting this promo, and we're like, yo, we're going to count to 3. I don't know why I said yo, because I didn't talk like that as a child. I was like, hey, at the count of 3, we're going to do this. We're going to be like, oh, I love you, Cena, and just like yell it. We're like, yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We love you, Cena. And he points, or he looks, and he points to me, not her. Points to me. It's like, I love you too. And I'm just like,
Put that.
So,
You
yeah.
should have make sure.
Just shove that girl out of the way.
yeah, that's right. Just fucking knock her off the
We-
chairs.
We were friends.
She's dead
so
now.
Room for
We've
one.
never seen her again.
She was on that trip to Minnesota. Dude.
That's it.
Yeah.
She was left on the side of the road.
She was what was the issue under my hood.
Well,
And we're laughing. On that note,
on that note,
the first ever Miss a Bitch.
yep.
We're gonna finish the story with murder, I guess.
After Missa committed murder. Okay.
So we talked about
at 10 years
Pornhub,
old.
yeah.
At 10 years old.
I'm crafty, man. I'm crafty. They never see a 10-year-old coming, you know?
That's true. No, but thank you for coming out today. We hope you had a good time.
Oh,
here
I love
with
it
us.
here, yeah.
Thank you. Before we head up out of here, unless things you want to say, put your social media out there. Whatever you want.
Missa Kate 23, because I'm great like Jordan. I was born on the 23rd and Thanksgiving, so be
Damn.
thankful.
Yeah.
So I guess she's gonna be a rapper when
I
she's
guess
on
so.
wrestling?
Wiki walk. And no, I'm not gonna do anything. But yeah, so Missa Kate 23, Instagram, Twitter, Missa Kate on TikTok, I believe, and yeah, so go follow me there. Don't follow me on Facebook because you're not getting a friend request back. We ain't friends. But yeah, stuff like that. So go ahead, and you could click on the links in said Instagram and Twitter to buy me stuff on Amazon or to buy my merch or t-shirts. And yeah, just go explore. Like my stuff, follow me. It's a
Like her
great
stuff,
time.
follow
I'm pretty
her.
fucking entertaining.
That's it. To all you future Mrs. bitches out there, man, follow her, buy her shit.
Be my
Come
bitch.
on, be her bitch and support. Let's go. Man, no, thank you, Missa. Thank you again
Of
for
course.
coming and hanging out with us today. Thanks again to our sponsors, the Law Office of Christopher Hoff and the Taco Villa in Villa Park. Missa, this is the part of the show where we sign off with a toast. We just raise up our beverages and we say salud cabrones. Can you say that?
Salud, cabrones.
Okay, there we go. See? Damn, like nothing. So here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Salud,
cabrones. We out.